Let's try and take you there and see if we can hear.
Indeed, a bad situation, to be quite frank with you. It's a situation that we need to move out as quickly as possible so that our emergencies and our experts can have the full view and advise us immediately. So we are setting up a command center or a JOC at Mary Fitzgerald Square immediately. The Provincial Commissioner of Police is there, joined by the Acting Minister of Police and the Deputy Minister of Police. I'm joined by the MEC responsible for local government, MEC Mzikumalo, the Executive Mayor of the city, as well as the MMCs for public safety and utilities. We are also joined by the city manager and officials of council. What we have by now, which still need to be verified, we can confirm that 9 people were rescued from here with injuries, and the 9 have been dispatched to various hospitals around the area. Our teams are searching strategic areas, especially going up there. They are of the view that there's something that needs to be confirmed before they can release additional information. But they are also trying very hard to check the neighboring buildings, and that is why they are asking us to leave the area, because the impact at this present moment, it's not determined how far it has went and whether some of these buildings are either in danger of collapsing or not. And the safest route, it was to put the JOC outside, and it will be at the JOC where we'll give hourly updates so that we can update our citizens. But it's indeed a bad situation. The damage is extensive. I mean, if you check all the cars that are here and also check the properties that have been affected and our main road infrastructure, the damage is extensive, but it's very difficult to calculate now until our team has concluded the work that they're doing.
Premier, have the residents, because this seems to be a mixed accommodation part of the Joburg CBD, have the residents been evacuated? Iman from the SABC, by the way. And the second thing is, I don't know if anyone else can taste and smell a residue in the air. We were told that they needed to create a 1 kilometre evacuation perimeter. Please talk to us about that.
Well, that's why we are confirming that our emergency teams feel that there are other areas where they need to do some form of searching to be sure that everyone has been evacuated. But there are people, obviously, because this is their residential area, if you evacuate them, they're asking where to be taken. And that is why we've got the leadership of the municipality and the province, so that we can attend to that issue. Until we get that information from the team that has went in there to do further searches, it will be extremely difficult for us to confirm whether everyone has been evacuated.
Premier, it's Heidi Jockers from ENCA. So at this point, no fatalities, and do you have any indication what could have caused this?
It's still a miracle that there are no fatalities. I mean, I got eyewitnesses account that literally the entire area was shaking. And the number of car accidents, you can see, I mean, the last time I counted these cars were almost 23 cars that are on top of each other. And that was during peak hour. And all these taxis that are here, it means there were human beings inside. So it's just a miracle that we don't have fatalities. And we have to thank our Creator for that. But my fear, it's the management of disasters. The MEC can tell you. I raised this in cabinet this morning before this thing happened, because the disaster hit, but people are still walking around here. So if we had a second shock that absorbed people, we'll be talking a different language now. So we need to properly manage disasters when they occur and ensure that we manage this particular issue. So we are calculating everything. As I said, the Provincial Commissioner, because now it's going to be the op center, will give us the information and will share with you, hopefully, at an hourly basis.
Well, let's turn it to the MEC. Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Premier, if there is, they do have to evacuate people, mass evacuations, is there accommodation available? Is there a place where you can move them on an emergency basis?
We are working on that. That is why you've got the city manager here, and you also have officials from departments. So we need to have the numbers first. So let's allow the team that went to search to tell us how many people are there. You can see the smell of gas. It emanates from that direction. So that's where we need to get immediate assistance. And people have indicated from that side that they're starting to have headaches and chest pains. So they're requesting us that we assist them as quickly as possible. So when the search team, which consists of experts, come and brief us, then we'll be in a position to say what kind of additional support we can provide immediately.
Well, let's talk about the operational plan. MEC, what is the plan tonight?
Come again?
So the situation is clearly not under control. There's gas, we can smell gas, and we also saw sparks there. So
Yes,
what's the time?
it's under control because we brought Egoli gas officials. These are the people that specializes in gas. They are here. And they're doing everything to advise us. Also, not only on evacuation, the nature of the gas and its effect and what needs to happen when this kind of a gas is inhalated. So we are working on those things. They will advise us and we'll be in a position to advise what to do. But Egoli team, the experts that are specialized in gas are here to assist us.
Right, well, can we talk to who are they, if we just identify them really quickly?
No, the city manager is here. But
Okay. All right, let's hear from you about the extent of the danger. As we say, come through to us. Just as you do your preliminary assessment, what are you thinking and what is the level of danger as we stand here now?
Yeah, so what we do have is our emergency management teams are here. We already transported about 9 patients or so. It's quite difficult to say because we still need to do some search and rescue. We will have to also check the structural integrity of the buildings surrounding this area and work with our teams in human settlements to see what it is that we need to do to evacuate the people here. So we have disaster management teams here, emergency management services are here. So it's really just up to that so that we ensure that when we look at the gas line to ensure that we get that indication and confirmation that the line basically is closed. And then that is the time that we can really be able to do a proper assessment and provide proper feedback to you.
Can you get your name, surname, and your designation?
Floyd Brings, City Manager.
I don't even know
Okay,
your
so,
city manager.
sorry, Floyd, you're saying that a proper assessment needs to be done, but from now, because, I don't want to speak about what happened in Boksburg with that gas explosion, but is it a ticking time bomb at this point, or is it under control?
It's definitely under control. It's not a ticking time bomb. Look, a risk remains a risk, and a disaster is a disaster. But what we now need to do is really to do a proper assessment in terms of disaster management and disaster recovery at this particular point. It's not 100% clear exactly where it is from, so we wouldn't want to mislead you at this stage and create any confusion at this point. So we will be setting up a joint operations committee now with SABC and all the relevant stakeholders in order for us to be able to provide you with that feedback. But at this particular point, it's under control, but although we would need to do that relevant assessment
Yes, the eyewitness that was
to provide the feedback.
This young man.
Can we move back a little bit? I think we're a little bit squashed. So go ahead and just tell us your name and
my name is Annelies Ampisa and I'm a final year at University of Johannesburg. What's happened here earlier, it's not even earlier, maybe it's not even a full hour, just happened now. What happened here, there was activity taking place just as usual. People were walking, the taxis were picking up people, sending them back to home. But what happened here, while people were busy like that, like a huge shake, just road just opened up. That's when the taxis now, they started packing on top of each other. And so there were some people inside because the road was so busy as usual. People had no idea what's going to happen. So the taxis, they packed on top of each other. There were people inside those taxis because they were not aware that something like this is going to happen. But it happened. So the taxis packed on top of each other. The road started opening up. When you go up straight there, even now, right now, there's a smoke coming out under the ground, you see. You can see that, I don't know, maybe there's a big pipe under the ground, just exploded up, or you see the power, the pressure, just burst it out, you see. When you go up there, you will see the smoke and you will smell the smell, it's very strong. Yeah. Even when you go there, will become so dizzy at the same time.
And these are some of the sensations that we're feeling, hence, the question around how vulnerable are we standing in the spot right now?
Yeah, look, we will remain vulnerable because it's a scene, it's a disaster scene, and I think that is the reason why we would need to quickly wrap up this in order for the experts to move into this particular area and then provide you with that
How many
with that
people
assessment.
have been evacuated?
We don't know. The experts are still on the field.
Okay.
Let's conclude that and come back. We'll
Yeah.
give a briefing the next hour. Let's leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So there you have it, Sally. I think quite in terms of,
So that's the view here from the Johannesburg CBD. It is a very serious situation, as you can hear, in the context of so many variables still unknown. We're not sure exactly whether that line has been switched off or not. You heard from the city manager that those determinations still have to be made. The best thing that can be done right now is to err on the side of caution, to evacuate the scene and to allow officials to do their work. Still a lot of curious onlookers. If you look past the barricade and the cordon just further down the road, people still clamoring for a view of what happened a little bit earlier on. You'll see the extent of that structural damage to the right of us. And that extends actually all the way up the street for at least about a block or two. But I think in terms of responsible journalism, we will do the right thing and evacuate the scene. Anything is possible. Nothing could happen, but something may well. And we just also want to share the message that the Premier and the City Manager were sharing, that those who are in the vicinity should keep a safe distance, and they are making arrangements for those who might need to be evacuated tonight to safer quarters. So we leave it on that note here in the Johannesburg CBD and hand it back to you in the studio.